Everyone, thank you for watching once again. This is Sunridge of Nevada. Of course, I'm Bruce Mufson, coming at you with another video for you to watch and enjoy and reflect upon. A little bit deeper today where we normally go. We are going to talk about the death, as you can see behind me, death of Prodigy from Mobb Deep and its effect on his fans. He left behind a lot of great music, but we're not going to do that today. I want to talk about the man, what he lived with. I want to talk about grief and loss because I saw the funeral and I saw the images, and it was introspective to me to see that and also made me reflect on my own life, my own ultimate passing. And I want to share that with people. And once again, like we got before, people are actually responding by leaving comments how they felt on our last video. I want to do the same thing here today as well. So let's get started, and here we go. His passing was a huge blow to fans that have enjoyed his music for decades. And I want to reflect upon his passing, not to get into his music, but I want to talk about the sense of what it is to lose someone and how that affects you. I want to clarify something also for those of you that are not really clear. What is sickle cell anemia and what he suffered from? Sickle cell anemia is why they call it sickle. It's because your blood cells grow in a crescent shape. Normal blood cells are round. Sickle cell look like a crescent. And what happens is they block your blood. That's not good. And it stops oxygen from getting to the cells. That's painful. This causes pain and anemia. What is anemia? When your body lacks normal, when your body lacks normal hemoglobin in your cells, you develop anemia. And it hurts your muscles, joints, bones, and organs. And when you have an attack, it is painful beyond belief. Your arms and legs draw up, you're in agony. And you can't even stretch because you're in such pain. And people that have it sometimes have attacks, once a month, once every 6 months, once a year. Now, what was interesting to me is that Prodigy said after every performance had to be not rushed, but he had to go to a hospital just to recoup. He'd be dehydrated, he'd be very, very weak. He needed a couple of days after every performance to just really get himself back into shape that he can go on to do the next performance. So it's not an easy thing when you have sickle cell anemia, and it affects mostly African Americans. What is it like living with sickle cell disease? What they tell you, pretty common sense on a certain part, is nourishing diet, enough sleep, regular physical activity. Don't smoke, avoid that. Prevent and control complications. Avoid situations that may set off a crisis. Avoid overexertion and dehydration. Well, when you're performing at a concert and you're giving it your all, dehydration is a factor you have to take into effect when you have sickle cell. And what are some of the signs you can have? Fever, stroke symptoms, problems breathing, loss of vision, severe anemia. So these are some of the things that you deal with, and this is what he was dealing with on a daily basis, suffering from sickle cell anemia. So I have to give the guy credit for having the career that he had, given what he was living with. So that's amazing in itself. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I saw the funeral, I saw the coverage of it. It took place in New York City and Manhattan, and everyone showed up. The lines were literally, I can't say around the block, they were like 6 blocks around the block. And every name and rap pretty much came out there. And some of the comments that were made was, for instance, Havoc. He said, I can't believe it. I can't believe I lost my partner. 50 Cent, he said, I lost the words. I have to walk out. LL Cool J was crying, because they lost, in a sense, one of their own. Someone they had grown up with and someone they had admired who was older than them, were roughly the same age. Like, you lose somebody, how do you cope with that? It's a very, very weird feeling. He's there and then he's not there. When you're dealing with grief and loss, how does grief affect you? Grief affects people in different ways. Anxiety and helplessness often comes first. I didn't save him, I couldn't save him, I feel like I failed. Anger is also common, including feeling anger at the person that passed away. How could you leave so soon? I'm leaving behind. What are things that you can do as a person to feel better about yourself in these moments? Express yourself. Talk about it. Allow yourself to feel sad. Keep your routine. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Eat healthy. Avoid things that numb the pain, such as alcohol and common sense. And go to counseling if it feels right for you. Okay. What I want to clarify also as a clinical social worker, sometimes I hate saying things that sound trite, that sounds kind of simplistic, and some of these things are to a certain extent. I was looking through different ways of coping with loss, and I saw this article from the first one, by the way, came from NHS Choices, Your Health, Your Choices. This one came from a woman named Luminita Saviuc, Saviuc. This is a 2012 article. She had seven things that she wanted to talk about and had to deal with the death of a loved one. And I'm going to clarify and break down each thing that she's saying. First thing she's saying is that life is stronger than death. That it can't take away our memories and it can't separate people from love. In the end, life is stronger than death. Okay. Ignorance and fear of death. She says in this one, we come to this world alone and we leave alone. You can have all the friends in the world you want. In the sense, you're born naked and you die naked. No matter all the wealth you have, all the power you may have amassed, you come into this world alone, you go out of this world alone. And that applies to every single human being on this planet. Also, when you accept the fact that nothing lasts forever, we're on this world for a temporary time, will help us deal with it possibly for those that we were close to. And understand that when death comes, are we ready for death? This is number 3. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Death is not the end. When you understand how finite life truly is, that you realize there's a world out there that's not visible to the naked eye, a very powerful world, a world which you all originate from, and a world we're going to return to when we leave our physical bodies. In other words, there's an afterlife. That's if you believe in a sense of God. But there's something bigger than us here, and once we finish our time on this earth, we move on to a higher form of being, a higher form of spirituality. Returning to the source. There's a concept, this was interesting when I thought was here, is that in the first 9 months of your existence, you're in your mother's womb, and all your needs are being taken care of. Nothing is being done randomly. You're literally living off of somebody else. So it provides all the nourishment you need, the love you need. We know the first 9 months of a child's life has huge implications for the rest of it. So the concept is, wouldn't the same thing apply after you depart this earth? You're taken care of in the first 9 months, you're taken care of after you leave. So we're spiritual beings that just kind of understand the source that you come from. And having a human experience, after all, and not the other way around. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're higher than we realize. Number 5, death is part of life. We celebrate the loss of a loved one just as we celebrate the birth of them. And the people that we love and still love so dearly want us to remember the many beautiful and precious moments we spent with them and focus on that and nothing else. Number 6, one after that, accept and embrace the grief. That even though someone has passed and they're no longer here, it doesn't mean they're still not around being part of you. I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. And you also understand the concept of learning to let go. And that's what number 7 is, learning to let go. It's okay to grieve, it's okay to mourn, but you have to move on ultimately. I've seen people that can never get past their grief and it destroyed them, destroyed those around them. They were no longer functional. It's okay to grieve, and there's no time limit, there's no timeline how you're supposed to grieve or grieving. But also, you got to come back to life as well. You got to hit the surface. You got to come out from under the water and hit the top. And understand that you're there and you want to try and be there to those that are around you. Again, easier said than done. I don't want to make it sound like it's so simplistic, and it's easy for that to happen. I wanted to share some comments that people left for this particular article and realize it's not as simple as it made out to be, like, poof, we just kind of go on. Here, these are just various comments that were brought from all over the world, actually. I believe in God too, but that doesn't help me anymore. I've experienced so much loss that I can't cope with it all. My friends all tell me I need to get over it, let go and move on. I'm finding that extremely hard to do. I'm just a few weeks shy of my 1-year point with my girlfriend's suicide. I have lost my grandparents, other people. I understand with my brain all the things that you said, but my heart just will not keep up. Another comment, I don't know if I have the strength to deal with the death of a son and a mother. This was another comment, that was a gut-wrenching decision to have to make. My heart is broken. Oh God, another comment, oh God, help me get a grip on all of this. It's very painful. So you're hearing people talk, and here's one person whose attitude was, Accepting that inevitable makes life easier. I have planned my passing and will be a celebration of my life with fun music and laughter. I am an atheist and believe that Mother Nature is the boss. That's how he's going to have a comedian at his funeral. Here's how some people are talking about this. The deceased live forever, and those of us who were touched by them, trying to cope. Here's another comment. My close friend lost her son. I didn't attend the burial, but I went to see him at the morgue. She's coming to visit to me today. What do I do to avoid hurting her? And someone wrote back, talk about him. When my son died, my greatest fear was that he would be forgotten. It's been 8 years, he lives in me, and he's talked about. So I want to answer that question first. What do you do if you have someone that passed? Which is, listen, that's happened to me. When you go to someone's house that passed away, that people are still trying to cope with it. You know what you say? Say anything. They want to talk. They want you over. Just say how sorry you are, how sad you are, how upset you are, and then it bothered you. You missed the person. Be honest. Be real. So often in social work and mental health, we're so afraid to be real, to be honest with the clients that we work with, that we don't make any progress because we're also stilted and we hide behind barriers and walls. When someone says to you, my son died, my wife died, my lover died, my best friend died, my child died, and what do you say? It's not going to hurt the person. Just say, you know what? It sucks. I'm sorry they died. I'm sorry you're in pain. You're my friend. I can't forget seeing that person. Let people know that you're real, that you're honest. That's what people want to hear from you more than anything, is that you're there for them. I want to talk about this now in terms of the wrap-up. And talking about this part right here, its effect on his fans. Well, he obviously influenced many, 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 many people. When I was watching the video of all the different clips of people at the funeral, people were doing this, they were singing his songs, they were crying, they were hugging, they were emotional. You know what? Do it. It's normal. The fact that people came out for this person to stand in a broiling hot day in New York City to pay respect, and I saw banners and posters and pictures and balloons and articles and clothing that he hung up in the memorial area. Wow, he really touched a lot of people. So if you get emotional, you want to cry and you want to hug somebody that's able to be hugged back, do it. It's normal to grieve. It's part of the healing process. Just for myself alone, I'm 54 years old. Both my parents have passed away. I have one sibling, a sister, and I don't have any contact with any relatives on either my mother or father's side. Like a lot of Americans, that's the truth. The result, what do? I call her several times a week. Why? To make that connection. Let me share something about this. Tell people what you think about them for yourself. After my dad died, I realized just how I had grown up in a house of secrets. That's how I grew up. Everything was a secret. Secret, secret, secret. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. My God. And you know what I realized? What a waste of a life. How silly it was. Now, if it's positive, I tell people exactly how I feel about them. You're doing a great job. I'm happy to work with you. That's outstanding. You're meant for bigger things. You can do better. I'm impressed by you. You got my back. I got your back. If it's something positive and affirmative, I say it. I don't leave anything on the table anymore. So there's no doubts when I leave this earth, no one's going to say, I wish Bruce would have shared more with me. You get everything you can out of me. Suck me dry, I don't mind. Because when I leave here, I want to leave here as a husk emotionally. Every time I work with somebody who does something right by me, positive, 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 positive. Create as many good memories and moments as you can and realize life is precious and finite. And talk to your people about your demise or what's going to happen. Now, obviously, every time he was performing, he was taking a chance in a sense. It was crazy to me. Now, as men, we're raised to be tough. Hold on to your feelings. Why? I don't know. It makes no sense. Don't do that. Be open to your children, your families, and everyone else around you. Now, how does this affect us as we move on? And how do we mourn for Prodigy? How do we mourn for somebody that meant so much to so many people that are still to this day devastated. Not just the fellow rappers that work with him, that knew him, that had their beefs, that had their issues, blah, blah, blah. And even a lot of them were saying how silly they were after it was all over. Who cares, looking back on it? This one had more sales, this one had a better rap, blah, blah, blah. It's trivial. I'll put down 5 things. If you really want to understand how to understand him and honor him and show tribute to him, appreciate his music that he left behind and that we can still listen to. That's the ultimate grace you can give somebody, because he's looking down and saying, wow, I did have an impact on people. So appreciate his music that he left behind and that we can listen to. Number 2, acknowledge the physical pain that he had to be in and how each performance was literally his last one due to his illness. I mean, he had to go to a hospital every single time after a performance to be hit with intravenous fluids and to be in pain and to have his muscles cramping up and feeling rigid. But he gave himself in every performance. So acknowledge what the man gave to us. That no matter how sick he was, and he probably wasn't always feeling great, he came out there and gave it his show, made it his show. That's what a true entertainer is. Be happy that he's in a place now. He's no longer has to deal with the daily pain and suffering. He's in a better place. I'm happy for him. He's no longer hurting anymore. No longer with medications and seeing doctors and the side effects of sickle cell anemia. He's in a better place now. Cherish the memories of who he was and what he represented to us on an individual basis. Number 4. Cherish those memories and do the same thing for yourself. Number 5, and the 5th one. Finally, we think how we can make our own lives filled with inspiration, value, and meaning. Think about yourself. Am I living the life I want to live? Make it filled with inspiration, value, and meaning. So no, when we leave this earth, we do it knowing that we gave it our all. Are you a good father? Are you a good husband? Are you a good provider? Are you a good person? And if you're not, what do you have to do to strive to get to that level? And I'm not saying it's easy to deal with someone's death. It could affect you for the rest of your life. We know this. I'm not saying it's so simple, boom, you just wake up and boom, no more depression, no more grief, no more anxiety. You saw from the people talking how painful it was. Loss of a father, a brother, a mother. It's devastating. And we're not making light of that when we're doing this video. We just want to give you perspectives to think about so you can understand what it is to try and understand what that person meant to you so that you can move on and cope, because that person who's died, who passed on, doesn't want to see you suffer. When I die, and believe me, at 54, I don't have that many years left. More than half my life is gone. I want to look back. Hopefully I hit some kind of heavenly perspective and that my kids are happy. My kids are productive. I did something right with them, and they're contributors to this earth. They look back on their time with me on a positive level. How often that we work with people on a clinical level, we talk about family and adults in their lives, and they're like, he was a loser. I hated him. He wasn't there for me. He never was around. Be the person you were meant to be, that you have the capacity to be. So when we do leave this earth, we do it knowing we gave it our all, every bit of it. And after watching this video, let me know how you feel about the death. What is lost to you? And how do you cope and go on? I'm hoping that people will write in enough that can give inspiration to other people, that when things are black and things are dreadful, what did you do? What did you find? What did you hang on to give you the strength to continue to be successful and be there in life for those around you? Unfortunately, in my own life, I've had some horrible situations happen where literally it felt like the sun and the moon and the stars fell onto my back. And I had to carry on. I had to carry on to be productive in work, productive with my family, productive with people around me, when I was in grief mode. Talk about beast mode. Talk about grief mode. And I respect these people who shared about what it's like to go on when you're dealing with crushing grief and depression. And how do you find the strength to do so? Because I'm hoping that people that are watching this can put down their thoughts on how they were able to cope, how we were able to survive and move on. And that's what and we're sorry. We're sorry for the death of Prodigy. Great rapper, great musician, great lyricist. Tremendous music they left behind. But we want his fans to appreciate him now on a different level, not to feel a sense of loss forever. And what can they learn from him? What can they gain from him? And how do you move on in a successful manner? Everyone, thank you as always for watching. Leave us your thoughts. Thank you.